Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's AOB coming at you with yet another video. I'm going to be eating a banana for the majority of this review, purely because it involves a giant monkey. Before we get into anything, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see any future content to come towards you on this fine channel that I call home. As I hinted in the intro, a giant monkey. I'm going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. So I'm going to eat this banana. Well, first I'm going to take this part off because that's disgusting. Yeah, so this is my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. I guess it's technically a review, but it's more just me talking about the film, which I guess is a review. But we shall go along forward. I have been looking forward to this film ever since it was first announced. I really do like these MonsterVerse movies quite a lot. I'm a big fan of these films, and Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be the ultimate Avengers equivalent of this MonsterVerse, I guess, because you've got Godzilla, you've got King Kong, or just Kong as he's known in this universe. They're the two ultimates, and they're doing the crossover now, and they're gonna battle it out. Honestly, I have been so excited for this movie, more so than I have been excited for any other film that isn't Marvel or DC. Safe to say, I'm finally happy to say I saw it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I loved this film. Okay, shoot me. Is there any surprise? I loved this film. It was everything I wanted it to be. Unfortunately, the cinemas are not open here in the UK, so this is a film that is designed to be watched on a big screen with a huge surround sound. So it would have been even better if I had watched it in the cinema. Man, this on a big screen, this was designed for a big screen experience. This would have been amazing. But a certain pandemic happened. Whenever cinemas reopen, if it comes out in the cinemas when cinemas reopen over here, I'll watch it again, gladly. Listen, anybody who's watching this who likes the MonsterVerse movies, you're gonna love this film. I don't see why you wouldn't. You get everything you want in this film. Out of all the MonsterVerse movies that have come out so far, this easily has the best monster fight action. It's the most visible fights that we have had on screen in these MonsterVerse films. Like, they're actually filming it properly. It's actually, you can see what they're actually doing in detail. The fights are in the daytime, or if they're not in the daytime, they're in a very vibrant lit city where you can see what's going on. I just got chills and goosebumps and filled with adrenaline when I saw Monkey take on Giant Lizard. I was feeling adrenaline every time, the goosebumps, the chills. I loved it. I had an amazing time with this movie. The effects in this film as well, absolutely phenomenal. There is not a single moment in this film where the CGI looks a bit dodgy, it looks a bit fake in some places. You can tell they rushed it. There's not a single moment where it looks fake. And I think that is probably to do with the fact that this film kept getting pushed back and delayed after delay after delay after delay. And so it gave the effects team more and more time to perfect the CGI. The realism, the fur on Kong, when he's on snow as well, for example, when he's on snow and you see all the snow on his fur, it looks so real. All stuff with Godzilla in the water, when it's spectacular. If you like seeing big monsters battle it out, or if that's what you come to see, you're going to be satisfied with this film. You're going to be satisfied because it doesn't even take that long to get into the actual monster action here. And this film is actually surprisingly short. A film like this you'd expect to be usually about 2.5 hours, but I think it's just under 2 hours. So it's got a really good quick pace. So it gets into things pretty quickly, which is going to really help rewatchability. Like, this film will be so rewatchable, probably the most rewatchable in the MonsterVerse so far. I could rewatch this film over and over again. I've already watched it twice. I think you're going to have a good time if you want some just some mindless monster beating action. Now, of course, with every MonsterVerse film, I mean, this is far from a perfect movie. Far from it. There are problems with it, absolutely. Inevitably, the human stuff is obviously the least compelling and interesting part of this film. But the human stuff, it just has to be there. We just have to accept that human characters have got to be there. Because at the end of the day, we have to relate to something in the film. We gotta do something, and the human characters have to be there. But to be honest with you, the human character stuff in this, I didn't find a lot of it that bad, to be honest. My least favourite human section of the film was easily the whole Millie Bobby Brown section with Brian Tyree Henry and Julian Dennison. That was my least favourite part of the human section of this film. I don't know, they tried doing a lot of comic relief with those characters. It wasn't like horrible comedy, it didn't make me laugh. I didn't, especially Julian Dennison's character, he didn't make me laugh, which was really kind of weird because he was hilarious in Deadpool 2, but here I didn't really laugh at any of the comic relief sections of this film. Although I did quite like Brian Tyree Henry's character. Bernie, I think his name was, as this podcaster who's, you know, constantly talking about the conspiracy theories to do with all stuff in Apex and stuff. It really reminded me, has anybody seen Eight-Legged Freaks? He really reminded me of a character from Eight-Legged Freaks who was also a conspiracy podcaster, but in Eight-Legged Freaks he kept talking about aliens existing. In here he's talking about conspiracies involving Apex and Godzilla and all that jazz. But the human stuff on the Kong side of things, because this is Kong's film, this is more of a Kong's the main character basically of this film. Godzilla gets sidelined here, but it's more of a Kong film. We follow Kong for the majority of this film. And all the humans along the journey with Kong, I actually really liked some of the human stuff with that. Like the little Iwi girl, I forgot her name. You know, she's deaf and she does sign language with Kong. It really brought a lot of heart and soul to this film, and they give a lot of emotion to Kong. They do really humanize Kong. They actually humanize Godzilla as well. They humanize both Kong and Godzilla quite a lot in this film. And it gets to a point where you just sort of think, you don't really want any of them to lose. You just want to see them fight, but you also realise there has to be a winner. You don't want any of them to lose. Well, I didn't anyway. But yeah, the human stuff on the Kong side of things, I actually quite enjoyed. Long story short, I can happily sit through the human stuff to get to the monster action, because the monster action is absolutely worth it. I'm going to get into spoilers here now. I'm going to get into spoilers. I'm surprised I didn't get into spoilers earlier, but spoilers from now on, okay? Anyone who hasn't seen the film yet, go away, come back maybe, just watch the film. It's a good time. You'll have a splendid evening, I tell thee. A missed opportunity with one of the human characters in this film was that Dr. Serizawa's son, I think his name was Ren Serizawa. Dr. Serizawa, who was, you know, from Godzilla 1 and Godzilla King of the Monsters, who was all about letting Godzilla do his thing. His son was in this film, and they didn't flesh anything out. They didn't even really acknowledge the fact that he's Dr. Serizawa's son. The only real indication we got of him being his son is his last name is Serizawa. But he's working for Apex, and Apex in this film are the villains, and Godzilla's attacking them because they're building Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla can sense this, and they're building Mechagodzilla to take down all Titans, including Godzilla. Why is Dr. Serizawa's son working for them? They missed an opportunity here to give him some kind of motivation. Like, does he want revenge against Godzilla? Because ultimately Dr. Serizawa in King of the Monsters sacrificed his life to save Godzilla. Is that why he wants to take down Godzilla? Is that why he's helping build Mechagodzilla? We didn't get any answers like that. He's just there. That was a really unfortunate missed opportunity there. And in terms of the main villain of the film, who's like the main man of Apex, Walter was his name, was it? I can't remember. I'm struggling with names here. There's barely any of them in this film. He's just a generic bad guy who gets squashed by Mechagodzilla anyway. Wasn't massively keen on the Hollow Earth stuff. I don't know, like, we'd heard about the Hollow Earth being a thing in past MonsterVerse films, and we actually saw it here. It was basically like a whole other world in the Earth's crust. I thought of the Hollow Earth, it would just be basically big tunnels where big titans live. Not a whole other world! And I didn't really buy it much, but we did get a bit of backstory for Kong's people and Godzilla's ancestors, and it's established that Kong's ancestors and Godzilla's ancestors had an ancient rivalry. I didn't really care much for that. I would have just preferred that Godzilla and Kong are just two big giant titans that happen to coexist in the same world, and they just clash because they come across each other and they just need to prove which one's alpha. I didn't think they needed this whole, their whole species had an ancient rivalry that spans millions of years. This is where Thor gets his storm brick. Hang on a minute. No, wait, that's the wrong film, sorry. This is where Kong goes to the Hollow Earth to get his axe. Hollow Earth stuff wasn't my favourite part of the film, to be honest. It got to a point when, after they'd gone into this tomb thing, where obviously it was built by Kong's ancestors, it was getting to a point where I was like, come on, let's ramp up now. I don't know how we're going to get to Kong and Godzilla meeting again, because they're all the way underneath the Earth. Godzilla's on top. One of my least favourite sections of the film, the whole Hollow Earth stuff. It was alright, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad, but it just got to a point where it was going on for quite a while, and I was like, come on, I'm ready for Godzilla and Kong to meet again and start getting into it. So let's talk about the fights. Let's talk about the clashes between Godzilla and Kong. So, the first fight, it went to Godzilla. Yes, it did. But to be honest with you, I'm not really going to count that fight towards the tally, if you will, because it was in the water. Godzilla had home field advantage here. Godzilla lives in the water. He swims. He can breathe underwater. He can do anything he wants underwater. Kong cannot. Kong is a big land mammal. Kong did not really stand much of a chance. He was at a massive disadvantage in this fight against Godzilla. And he did come close to killing Kong, did Godzilla in this point. He was just swimming, had his tail wrapped around him, just bringing him down underwater, and he came close to drowning. But the humans helped him. That first fight was magnificent, not a letdown at all, because it wasn't entirely one-sided. Kong did get a few hits in there, especially when they were on the ship thing, whatever you want to call it, the scene that is in all of the trailers. But that went to Godzilla. which, as I say, I'm not going to add that to the... I personally won't count that to the tally because it's just unfair. But when we get to the second fight in Hong Kong, my god, I got chills with that. I mean, there's a few plot conveniences in this film. It's silly. When they're in the Hollow Earth, Kong and humans, something to do with Kong's axe starts to light up, and there's like a shape of a Godzilla monster. But he puts this dorsal plate axe in like this puzzle, and it lights up, and then Godzilla senses it, and he's in Hong Kong at this point. He's out attacking Apex because they're looking to activate Mechagodzilla. Godzilla senses this thing turning on in the Hollow Earth, and he just atomic breaths down, right down, and he literally creates a hole straight to exactly where Kong is in the Hollow Earth. Very, very convenient. There's a few times in this film where you really got to suspend your disbelief. I mean, you got to suspend your disbelief anyway. It's a giant monkey fighting a giant crocodile. Where he is in Hong Kong also happens to be exactly where Kong is, directly underneath. That final fight between Kong and Godzilla, man, I got chills with that one, especially when Kong comes out of the hole that Godzilla made. He comes out with his axe, he stands up, there's the facing off, you know, Kong's there like, Godzilla, you fat bastard. Godzilla turns around, he's like, Kong, you prick. Kong's just like, come on then, let's have it, and then they go for it, man. This fight was just absolutely, I don't know, man, this is a fight I'm gonna watch on YouTube over and over again. Easily, because this Hong Kong battle between Kong and Godzilla, this is what you came to see in the film. It's absolutely, it delivers the action, you can see it all so clearly. They each get their own hits. It was so amazing. I loved every minute of it. I've never seen Godzilla use his atomic breath so much. Never. He uses the atomic breath so much in this film. You wonder why he never used it this often before. Like in the first Godzilla film, he used it like, what, once, twice, 3 times? It sort of built up to him using it, and it seemed like he struggled to activate it. King of the Monsters, he used it more in King of the Monsters, but still nowhere near as much as he used it in this. It's basically his main attack. Kong is at a massive disadvantage with the atomic breath thing. He used it a lot. There's even a moment where Godzilla hits Kong with his atomic breath because he's trying to zap Kong, and Kong's just dodging left, right, and center, using the buildings and the towers to dodge and climb, avoid the atomic breath. There's one point where Godzilla actually hits Kong in the back with the atomic breath, and Godzilla, I shit you not, laughs. There's a close-up of his film and he goes, Godzilla laughing. What? This is madness, I loved it. But ultimately, if it wasn't for the fact that they literally state it in the film, round 2 goes to Kong. Kong wins round 2, technically, because, well, the film states it. Fair play. Kong got, you know, Godzilla won the first one. Kong gets a victory here. And then in the same fight, it's sort of split into 2 rounds, this last fight. And, yeah, Godzilla wins. Basically, Godzilla wins overall in this. The second round of the final fight, Kong was trying, he snuck up, he tried to distract Godzilla with a big crane that he threw, and then he jumped on his back and started wailing away, but it wasn't enough. Godzilla just absolutely ragged Kong about the place like he was nothing. It was really quite savage. This is what I mean, you gotta give the effects team props, because it gets to a point where Kong is on the floor, like trying to crawl away. His arm's been dislocated by Godzilla, and how realistically Godzilla is moving, the way he's biting Kong's hands and the way he's attacking is really quite ruthless, and you really get a sense like this looks real. Like Kong is getting fucked here, and it gets to a point where Kong is just crawling away, trying to boot Godzilla's face away from his feet, but he can't keep him away. Godzilla just overwhelms him, and he starts clawing his chest and scratching him, and yeah, Kong's done, man. Kong is done. So this leads to the best part, well, one of my favourite parts of the film, an iconic shot, really. This shot is amazing. You saw it in the trailers, it's where Godzilla stomps on Kong's chest, and he starts, and he's like, oh, he's won, basically. He's won. I'm like, I'm winning. Stay down. He goes to Kong's face and he just roars right in Kong's face for dominance, just like, submit now. And Kong, you can see the rage in Kong's face building up, like, he can't do anything about it, but he also doesn't want to submit, so eventually he just roars back, and he's like, I'm not submitting to you, you bitch. Godzilla literally just goes, stands up, he literally goes, I tip my hat to you, sir. Like, if Godzilla was wearing a giant hat, he would have gone, I tip my hat to you, sir, Kong. Obviously, Godzilla has mad respect for Kong not submitting, despite the fact that Kong has lost. Kong was like, I would rather you kill me right now than me bow to you. And Godzilla obviously respected that, and he was like, fair play to you, lad, fair play. Ultimately, in the end, overall, Godzilla did win. Quite definitively so. I've seen a lot of people, you know, a lot of Godzilla fans in particular, tearing Kong apart in this. Basically acted as if, like, they're acting as if Kong lost, as if he didn't even put up a fight. Kong put up a good fight against Godzilla. He did. He put up a good fight to the point where I actually thought it would have been believable that Kong would have won. Kong could have won, Godzilla could have won. It just happened to be in this scenario, Godzilla came out on top. You're all being a bit harsh on Kong here. Kong did put up a good fight. Godzilla didn't just annihilate him. I wasn't rooting for Godzilla or Kong. I like them both equally. Me personally, I would have honestly preferred that they just ended it in a draw. I know that would have been a cop-out, and that's how all versus movies end, but because I like them both, I didn't want one to win over the other. But Kong may have lost the fight against Godzilla, but they do make up for it with the fact that Kong does get his moment because he's the one who kills Mechagodzilla. I gotta talk about Mechagodzilla. This bothered the fuck out of me. The idea of Mechagodzilla, he's made from King Ghidorah's 3 skulls, right? And they've got like a link with the brain to control it. Dr. Serizawa had this thing where he can control it with his brain. When Mechagodzilla's waking up, that fries, it kills off Ren Serizawa, he gets electrocuted, and now he's thinking for himself in Mechagodzilla. And he escapes, he unleashes on Hong Kong, and Godzilla's there after he's just beat Kong. Sees him coming out. I don't like this. I don't like. I like Mechagodzilla as the concept, right? It doesn't make the film bad at all. This is just something that bothers me personally. Why did they make my boy Godzilla look like such a chump in this? He didn't even put up a fight against Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla was way too overpowered here. He is ragging Godzilla around like he is absolutely nothing. He's bashing his heads against buildings. Godzilla is not getting a single scratch on Mechagodzilla here. Why was this so one-sided? This really, really, really bothered me. Look, I don't like seeing people or creatures or whatever that I admire and like lose, okay? I'll give you an example. Stone Cold Steve Austin is my all-time favourite wrestler and he's one of my idols in general. I refuse to watch any match that he loses because I just can't stomach it. So that's the kind of level of butthurt I have inside me. So seeing Mechagodzilla just wailing away on Godzilla like Godzilla can't even do a fucking thing. It really bothered me. Like, it didn't have to be so one-sided. Like, yeah, by all means, have Mechagodzilla overpower Godzilla at one point, but at least give Godzilla some moments of shine where he is getting a bit of an upper hand, or at least getting some hits on Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla is just way too much for Godzilla to handle, and Godzilla doesn't do a single thing against this guy. But you know, Kong's dying, his heart's slowing down, and they resurrect Kong with one of those ships by, you know, an electric pulse, and basically defibrillating him, and you know, the little girl really hit really nice moments like, Godzilla's not the enemy. That metal fucking thing there, that's the enemy. Kong does his badass thing where he fucking knocks his dislocated shoulder into a building and pops it back into its socket. He's like, I'm gonna do this here. And then we get this awesome team up moment where Kong and Godzilla team up to take down Mechagodzilla. Incredible. It was very, very brief, but it was really nice to watch. It sounds stupid on paper. Oh, Godzilla and Kong are going to team up to fight a big robot Godzilla. Which, you know, when you think about it, these two are wild animals. They wouldn't have the cognitive thought to team up. But, you know what, I'm surprised at how much it actually works in this film. As I said, they humanize Godzilla and Kong quite a bit in this film, so you can sort of believe them teaming up against Mechagodzilla. And it gets to a point where, you know, Godzilla's been knocked down again, Kong's got his axe, and because whenever Godzilla's atomic breath hits this axe, it powers it up, and Godzilla looks and he's like, ah, I've got an idea. Blasts the axe with atomic breath, powers it up, and that's when Kong just slices up Mechagodzilla, completely annihilates Mechagodzilla, slices him up, rips its head off. Kong stands tall over Mechagodzilla's corpse. So, you know, Kong lost the fight overall against Godzilla, but they give Kong his moment here over Mechagodzilla to sort of make up for the fact that he lost the fight against Godzilla. So Godzilla and Kong fans, I think they tried to make them both happy while also having a definitive winner. I've seen a lot of social media chatter. It doesn't seem to have worked very much because they're still arguing who won. Some people are like, no, Kong won, he did. No, Godzilla won, even though, you know, I can agree Godzilla did win the fight definitively, pretty definitively. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. That's it, I love the film. It's easily the most rewatchable MonsterVerse film for me. I'm going to watch it countless times. If it re-releases in cinema, I'm going to go watch it again, because it was designed for the big screen. I can't imagine anybody would be going into this expecting the Godfather levels of quality. I don't think anybody would be going in expecting an Oscar bait movie. If anybody is, maybe dial back those expectations, okay? I don't think any film with verses in the title is ever going to go for an Oscar anytime soon. Just go into this film expecting exactly what the title suggests. Godzilla vs. Kong. Nothing more than that. And it delivers on that wholeheartedly. If you want just pure escapism, pure action, pure fun, just watch this film. It's a great time. I absolutely loved it. It delivered on everything for me. That's it. That's my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. So, guys, I leave it to you now. What did you think to Godzilla vs. Kong if you watched it? Please put in the comments down below what you thought. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you not care? Did you not even watch it? Please do give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Hell, if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down if you like. I won't hold anything against you. Remember to press subscribe if you haven't already for more content in the future. And maybe even if you want, press the notification bell so that, you know, if and when I do upload, you'll be told. It's there! You have the option for some entertainment there from your good man AOB. Thank you as ever for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. And ciao for now.